Alright, I wanted to document this because this car is driving me crazy. 2003 Toyota Camry, and it started running. This always kind of had like a rattling sound for a long time, and initially I thought it had something to do with the timing chain or timing, and I found out that the timing chain allegedly was replaced before I bought this car, and it always had like whenever it got real hot, it sounded like there was a noise in through here. And my first initial thought was, well, this timing jumped and it was something wrong with this, valves hitting pistons or something. But I took it all apart, inspected it, and it looks like the timing is in. So I thought, well, what do I got to lose? Just pull this apart and see if there's something in the rattling. Well, there's nothing in the rattling, but I'm not going to be able to show this very good, I don't think. Let me get a flashlight. Well, you can see it there. I got to get out of the way of the light. See those valve stems? They're completely white. This is cylinder number 2. Cylinder number 3 is similar, but not so bad. And the same with cylinder 4. And on cylinder 1, there's no white on the valves at all, and all that. And there's a reason for that. Somebody at some point in the past replaced the fuel injector for number 1, but not the rest of them. So I'm not sure if this is going to fix it. The only codes this car had ever had since I owned it was catalytic converter and efficiency code. So yeah, you can see that one real bright. I mean, it has got white hot on that valve stem. So I'm hoping that the sound I was hearing was detonation, where I was at the time thinking, I thought that I was hearing actual piston to valve actual sounds, but now I'm beginning to think that maybe I was actually hearing detonation. So for whatever reason, this cylinder was running relatively rich, which has got the new injector on it. This one pretty lean, and I believe this one relatively lean, but number 2 was really lean. Number 4 was probably about average. There's a little bit of white on this stem, but not a lot. But so I'm hoping that new injectors will fix this. I mean, but yeah, you can see the white on her. That means that thing was literally like red hot. And check this out here. I also made sure this catalytic converter is not making any noises or anything. Nothing's loose in it. Remember cylinder number 2. It's not going to show up on there. I can get some better light in there. My garage is a wreck, so please ignore it. I don't know if you can see that little line in there. It literally looks like somebody was trying to take a torch and heat it. I don't know if you can see that spot in that. So that means that number 2, for whatever reason, was running extremely rich. And actually number 3 was too. The 3 was too. There's a mark in there too, but you really can't see. But those are cylinders 2 and 3 is where most of the heat's going to be at anyhow. So, and here's the other side of the catalytic converter. It's pretty white in there. I don't see any type of oil buildup or anything. So, there's a little white. What was I doing? That little pieces of white falling out. You can see that or not? And I don't know what to do with that little white stuff. Maybe it's just burned up oil and fuel carbon in there. Anywho, I'm just documenting this mostly for myself, and I might put it on there in case somebody else has ever seen anything like this. But what the giveaway was on these injectors. I think this one was number 1. This is really kind of odd. Maybe I got this holder on. Okay, yeah, see this one just got numbers and stuff on it. Well, this one right here says Denso on this side. That's probably not going to come up very good. Let me get out of the way of the light a little bit. This is Denso there. There's no part numbers on this side. This one's just part numbers on this side, and you flip it. The Denso's on this side. So what I'm trying to show everybody is that they're backwards. This one says Denso on this side. This one's got part numbers on it. So some point in the past, somebody's replaced one of these injectors. And I believe it was this one, which was number 1. You could tell it was definitely running richer than number 2. Number 2's got a little bit of carbon on it, but not as much as this one's got. So I'm hoping that what had happened was number 1, being that number 1 was running rich, it was pulling fuel from all 4 a little bit, but still number 1 was still rich, and the computer didn't realize that. So for whatever reason, they were number 1 was rich, and the rest of the 3 were a bit lean. So I've already ordered a timing chain set for this thing, and some gaskets. So I might, what I want to do is, I guess, try the injectors, replace this exhaust manifold, and see if it fixes it, which isn't going to hurt anything. I was going to replace this. This is the tensioner. I bought one online for 40 bucks, and I misplaced it. So I also ordered a screen for the variable valve timing. I'm kind of new to these cars, so. But yeah, that to me, when I seen this valve sims, I thought, man, that thing's running really lean. I'm hoping that is showing up pretty good. 3, like I said, was a little bit lean. You can see the valve's a little bit wide on the right hand side there, a little bit left at number 4. Number 4 a little bit, but number 1 has like it was like still kind of rich. So I guess whenever whoever replaced these injectors, I'm hoping they reset the computer. But really, you really should replace injectors in sets, because you have wear on the electrical components is about the same as the wear on the mechanical parts. So it was definitely putting more fuel in the number 1 than 3 and 4, or 2, 3, and 4. Number 2 was running pretty darn lean. So that's what led me to conclude that maybe this injector and this injector have both got issues, and maybe 3 and 4 is fine. But either way, I'm replacing all 4, and I'm resetting the when you replace injectors, you should always reset your fuel trim, so the computer can basically start from scratch and relearn the fuel trim for the whole motor, and then it should adjust everything else accordingly. But evidently, whatever happened here, I'm hoping that this fixes it. But I'm sort of documenting this. So this car I've only owned for about a year, so I did not know that somebody replaced 1 injector but not the rest. So. And I would not have known that they would cause this problem. This number 2 cylinder, I think it was. I could hear some definite noise in this area. So I thought that it was, or this area here, I thought it was for sure. And that, this area and this here, I put my stick or whatever, pry bars. I could definitely heard some noise there, but maybe it was detonation instead, and the computer couldn't back it off anymore. The timing. But the really weird thing was, the only code I had out of this whole car was a catalytic converter code. That's the only code I'd ever got out of it. So maybe number 1 injector was hanging open a bit too. Who knows? But anyways, this is just something I'm documenting here. These injectors, they don't clip in on this side, so there's no real. I was going to try to do like this and turn the key on, but these just popped out. So I don't know of any good way to see if they're leaking or not. See, so to do a leak down test, I'd almost need I don't know how to really secure these from popping out. So that's where I'm at with this old thing. Kind of documenting this in case anybody else runs into this problem. But yeah, this has been off. It's set proper. I don't know if you can see it down there. The harmonic balancer did slip a little bit. The line on the crankshaft is where top dead center is. I used to put a screwdriver in the spark plug hole and put it top dead center. If you can see the mark, it's on 0. Hope I didn't break that. See where that red light is? That's there's a dot there. Just gotta line up with the arrow right there, and it does. I put these spark plugs back in there, or these back in there, because I took the spark plugs out and I went to and they also did, you know, I didn't want to risk dropping anything down those holes. Is what I put all them back in there for. Spark plugs are out of this motor, so I could roll it over easier. And see, this engine's dirty, so it's gonna be real hard to see. But there's an arrow. There's an arrow on the far right there. It's supposed to line up with the lines right there on your variable valve timing, and it does. So don't know if it will fix it, but I'm documenting it, and and like I said, by the way, that if anybody ever gets to working on one of these, I'll show, get a I don't know if it's going to show it very good. Alright, see where that yellow mark is? That's actually top dead center. If you look to your right a little bit, there's a notch. That's the actual notch that's the top dead center from the factory. Did not line up because over time the outer disc will sometimes slip around on that harmonic dampener, and this one did just a little bit. Not a lot, but enough to where if I went without, I would have thought I was off a tooth or so. But if it is off a tooth, then that marks off anyhow. In other words, it's not technically top dead center, because I actually put like a real long 1/4" extension and watched it until, you know, went back and forth until that was for sure top dead center, right where that mark's at, and it's going up there to 0. So I got my work cut out for me. So anyhow, this is Child Did You Ride Out. Toyota Camry 2003, probably about 250,000 miles on it, and just trying to get it going again. Like I said, it was starting running real bad, and I thought for sure that there was valves hitting pistons. So I'm going to start out with trying whenever the fuel injectors show up, we'll slap them in there, and if it cures what ails it, then you know, I make mistakes too. I admit, I was trained for mostly General Motors, and so Toyota's kind of new to me, even though the car is a 2003. But the main reason why I went from everything else to Toyota is because I've read that they're pretty reliable, and when they age, they don't seem to rust out as badly as the American cars have been. So I don't know what type of metal treatment that they're using or the quality of metal, but hopefully this thing lasts for quite a long time. So sorry for the long video. Child Did You Ride Out.